Hello and welcome to another episode of Purple Venture Zoom. My dear guest today is Petr Šíma, who is a partner of Depo Ventures, and we will go deep into the subject of angel investing in Central Europe. Dear Petr, may you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, I'm partner of Depo Ventures and Depo Angels. We are Angel Network and Angel Fund, actually Angel Rolling Fund. We are based in Czech Republic, in Prague, and we are Central European open-minded investors.
Petr, who is an angel investor?
Well, there is a broad definition who is an angel investor. Actually, important thing is that the angel investor invests his own money and make this decision on himself, and should be giving smart money. It's not only about money; it's about experience, knowledge, contacts.
Mm-hmm. Where does the angel investor invest?
Mostly in startups, and every angel investor makes the selection of startups according to his his favor. Everybody has his favor. So is it local or is it global startups? Is it technology? Majority of investors obviously go in technological startups that have the potential to grow widely globally.
At what phase of the startup life does the angel investor?
Well, that's another characteristic that I didn't say. Angel investor is generally the first money to invest to founder right after friends and family or whatever. Angel investor typically invests before there is any revenue, so it's in the very beginning. And I think the good selection of angel investors is very crucial for the life of startups. If you look on the long-term statistics, founders and startups that had angel investors are generally better off on a long term. So, take more in angel investors, not just one, is the first advice to startups.
Mm-hmm. In the Central European context, how much would typically the angel investors invest?
But funny enough, it's not about the ticket or average ticket is about 25,000 euros. And I think it's more or less comparable Europe, US, even here. But it's about number of investors. Compared to US or Silicon Valley in Europe in general, we have very limited amount of angel investors, and especially in the Central and Eastern Europe. But the ticket is about 25,000. That's average. Somebody invests 5, 10, somebody invests 100. So.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Petr, when was the first time when you heard the term angel investor, and how did you become angel investor yourself?
Well, that might be a little bit from my history. I've always been an entrepreneur. I had my consulting firm for 25 years, always employed by myself, but it started to be a little bit boring. And like 5-6 years ago, one of our young fellow employees came to me and said, well, why don't we start to work with startups? And it was something very interesting for me because I love technology, I love new things. I'm just a little bit older generation over here, so didn't have the direct approach. Thanks to him, I got it and I fell in love. And we started first advising, investors how to fund how to fund startups, and startups how to find investors, and then we became angel investors. And it was a very easy decision because we saw that in Europe, especially in Central and Eastern Europe, there's a huge need for angel investors and a huge potential. Actually, angel investors, seed investors, somebody who really invests in the very beginning, where even the best startups is in the beginning. You don't know if it's good or if it's not good. well, looking for after 10 years, you see, it was obvious, but it's not obvious. And this is the role of angel.
So when was your first investment?
When? I think it was 2019, late 2019.
Mm-hmm. And what were the key lessons learned from since 2019 on picking the right startup to invest into?
Well, the main lesson is that you don't pick the startup, you pick the founder. It's not about the company, it's not about idea, it's not about the project, know-how, it's about the people. Everybody tells you that, and you need to learn it yourself. It's about the people that can bring you the idea and can develop the idea and make from the idea a company, and can make the company grow and have potential to become global company.
Now, how can you tell when you meet the founder first time, second time, third time? So how do you make that judgment?
Yeah, that's tricky, and that's it's a gut feeling, you know. I mean, it's even more difficult right now when we are all remote. I mean, you can go deeper, you know. Sometimes we start using psychological test, but you know, at the very end, it's really gut feeling. Plus, obviously, you know, the due diligence is very important, because you need to understand that first of all, what he's telling you is truth, and then you know you want to go a little bit deeper in finance, projection, understand how the founder thinks. You know, it's not about business plan. It's not about figures you want to stick to, but you want to understand the reasoning, and you want to really be convinced that you want to marry him, because at the very end, seed investments is about marriage. It's about 10 years relationship.
So could you evolve more on the topic? So what is it that you're looking at when you are seeing the founder, and what is no-go? What type of behavior or approach?
Well,
and on the other hand, what is like a strong indicators for you that might work?
Yeah. First of all, I say that it's about people. That's true, but you need to generally you read the pitch deck and you see the reading. So there must be something that tells you, oh, this is a good idea that might works. So the business plan itself must be good, must be something good. And then when you meet the people, you know, I need to feel the drive. You know, I need to feel that this is the person that will be here next 5 years and has a potential to develop a big company and has a developer to conquer the world. You know, and if I don't feel it, well. Everybody develops. Everybody changes in the long run. So nobody is perfect from the very beginning. So that's absolutely okay. But you know, the drive, the preparedness to give everything to the project, that must be there.
So would you actually invest into startups which are run by founders who are not full-time into the thing?
It's nothing like full time, you know. Well, we all investors want to have founders locked in fully dedicated. Well, that said, you know, quite often where we invest, as we are first investors, founders start to be full time after the investment. You know, they have something, they still do it. But once they have the money, they can quit other jobs and do it full time. But after we invest, it must be full time. You know, there's no way around.
In your own case, what type of industries would you tend to invest into?
Well, honestly speaking, we are sector agnostic, so we go everywhere where it makes sense. But we have only one crucial criteria, which is global scalability, and said that, it means that 99% is, well, it's all about technology. We love technology, so it must be technological project, and that
Technology meaning software mainly.
That's quite often. I love hardware, and I don't mind investing in hardware. The problem is that follow-on investors, VCs, don't like it. But we already did some investments. Right now, we are negotiating one hardware intensive startup. When it makes sense, why not? We need to produce something. But it's about technology. Hardware plus something. It must be technology that is scalable. But scaling software-based business is much easier, much faster than scaling hardware production. Hardware production, it's a nightmare. Yeah. Why not? We like hardware, but generally they refuse it.
You mentioned pitch deck. Would actually the first time, the entrepreneurs be able to put together for the very first investor like quality pitch deck?
Well, I mean, 3-4 years that we are in the market here in the Central and Eastern Europe, we see huge improvements. Before, we had like presentation, very low quality. Right now, the pitch deck that we are getting from entire region are, the same as we can get in London, Silicon Valley, really very good quality. There is so much literature. There is so much things that founders can learn about launching their startups, how to raise money. So if he is at least a little bit skilled and dedicated, he can learn. So if I get a really weird pitch deck, that tells you something. There is not enough help to investors. That's what we are doing. We are trying to help investors because I believe the best help to startups is to help to investors, to start really and to do wise investments.
When you say help to investors, how do you do that?
Well, ask yourself when you decide to start investing in startups, be it angel, be it seed. Seed fund, it's a long trip. It's the barriers of entry here are very big because you need to find startups. Startups must find you and must trust you. You need to find co-investors because investing in early stage is community investment. You don't want to be alone. So that generally takes years. And the way around it is if you are experienced founder that sold your startups, you already have your community. So that then starting investing is easier. In the US, AngelList makes a great help. You can start investing without knowing anything. You can learn by doing, by joining others, and that's exactly what we are doing here. In Europe, we have angel networks. Traditional angel networks. Our angel network is very young, very global-minded from very beginning. We say we like good founders, and doesn't matter where they are. We invested in South Africa, but our sweet spot is here, Central and Eastern Europe. So we welcome investors. We are ready for remote investment, but as an investor, you need to learn. You need to invest small tickets. You need to be in touch with other investors. And especially recently, you need to convince the founders, good founders, that you are the right one. Because right now, we fight for allocation. There's plenty of money everywhere. So good founders really are picky, when they choose the investor.
Who are the people who actually become the angel investors?
Well, typical and best angel is the one that had his own startup, made quite a lot of money, and made experience, and now is investing. But there's only a few of them. In Europe is crazy. And funny enough, well, not funny enough. It's obvious. areas in Europe are the best performing areas are the ones that had unicorns before, Baltics, Skype, Nokia before, people ready to invest in technologies. They have money, they have experience, they are not afraid of risk. So that's the best. We don't have them. We don't have them enough. It will take some time. So we are bringing people to investments, people that didn't do it before, C-level managers, experienced C-level managers that had a lot of way how to help companies, because every startup sooner or later will be developing in a corporate, and they need experienced people on scaling, and that can be C-level managers from corporations. So that's it. Experienced entrepreneurs, yes, but you have to be careful. You have to follow the rules. You have to be angel and not to become the main investor, not to become founder. So we are bringing more investors from that are not in the game. Really, investors. We to say it easily, we have our first and second angel fund. We run it as a fund, but I call it incubator for angel investors. Angel investors, potential angel investors invest. They learn. We play open cards with them. They can learn everything, how we do it, and then sooner or later they can start investing on their own or join others.
When it comes to smart money from the angel investors, what is it? What's the best practice? What is the right amount of being smart towards the founder, and what is too much or too little?
Well, smart wants to be you must be really smart, not to be pushy. That's always when I say, what my potential investors ask me, will I have any control on the startups? I said, no. You if startups must respect you, must take your advice from you, or doesn't have to, but there is no force. He runs the business, so you can help me. And the good thing how all of us can help is open doors. Just we all have experience, we all have some knowledge, other contacts. We live in our social groups, and very often founders need exactly that. They need a little bit of experience, they need a little bit of help, open gate, get to sit on the table with important people and start doing business. So at the very end, it's not that much.
What is good practice or bad practice when it comes to how much equity should an angel investor or angel investors get?
Well, funny enough, it's still happening to me here that we meet founders that say, okay, I already have an angel investor, he's got 40% in my firm. I say, well, then goodbye, because you don't have an angel investor. You've got somebody who's sucking the money from you, or sucking your future. First round, generally, the founder shouldn't give up more than 20% to everybody, to anybody. So that it's round by round. I always say when it comes to really big rounds, founders still should have something like 50%. So that's my first and exact advice, or imperative to any investors. Don't take too much. Don't be greedy, because then it will really kill you.
What do you see as healthy time engagement of the angel investor with the founder on a monthly basis, let's say?
Well, it very much depends how much the angel investor wants to be involved, and how capable is it. I see angel investors that are in weekly contact, really, and it's it's about advice, professional advice. It's about putting the founder in contact with others. But sometimes angel investor is, family friend, discusses really personal problems with founder. Many founders are first-time founders. They never run their business. The stress, up and downs are very difficult for them. Angel investor is mostly experience. If it's a entrepreneur running startups before or running normal company, typical company, things that are normal for many founders are very stressing.
Mentally, for how long should the investor not count with the money? So what is the time period for you which you invest?
Yeah.
And what is actually healthy amount, percentage of your total investable assets which you should put into angel investments?
Well, as an asset class, venture capital, and especially in the early stage, is a risky business. That must be said. And especially in the early stage, it's not liquid, and it takes long time before you can cash out. So generally speaking, it can be 8-10 years. Funny enough, the more successful the startup is, the longer it takes, because successful startups go to IPO and that takes time, or it takes longer time before really when they sell. But if it's not successful or not successful enough, the M&A transaction can even sooner, after 2-3 years, 5 years. But that's not the success you want. It's very good, just if you get if you can sell it for good money, it's fine. No, not everybody must become unicorn. And the second part of the question, generally up to 5 to 10% of your wealth, of your disposable wealth. Somebody invests even more. That depends, but it shouldn't be more. Well, generally it's the money you can afford to lose. I always say, okay, if you invest and then you can't sleep, because you are afraid of losing money, then you rather don't invest. Especially in these areas, Central and Eastern Europe, we are more conservative than in Germany. People are afraid. They don't like invest in risk, which doesn't make sense to me. Because risk brings awards, and investing in technology it's much more fun than investing in real estate.
When you decide to become an angel investor and invest those 10% of your investable assets, how your portfolio should look like. What's the number of startups you should invest that it actually makes statistically that you actually work with the risk?
Yeah. Well, we have our funds, our rolling funds that invest in 15 startups per fund. That's the minimum. If you want to be really serious angel investor, then like 40 startups is the right size. You are not angel investor if you invest 1 or 2, 3 startups. Then it's just it's a hazard. It's not serious investment, and that's why a really serious investment takes time. It's a business like anybody else. You have to do it properly.
Now, in order to invest into 15 startups per fund, how many pitch decks do you actually see in order to get to 15?
Well, last year we have seen something like 2,000. So it's at least 2,000 a year. And we do it really properly. We do like 15 investment a year. Plus we have angel network. We show our angel investors startups where we are not ready to invest, but they can like it. So it's a really tough job. So it's a teamwork.
How do you find such a large number, of founders?
Well, we are already some time in the business, and we have done some investments. Most of our founders are happy with what we are doing. We go all conferences, well, nearly all conferences. So it's a long process. Now, as everything is remote, founders can come to us online. We can fund them online. We go online conferences, so it makes life easier. And it's already, you know, the nice situation is that when investors brings you deal flow, you bring deal flow to investors. Founder recommends you the other startups that's good quality, and we already start to be there. You know, it takes time.
How can the angel investors educate themselves?
Yeah, well, that used to be difficult. It's much easier now. We provide all of our investors with knowledge base, well, where they can find the literature. We have online courses. Well, we are part of EBAN, European Business Angel Network, and that provides quite a lot of courses that angel investors can go where they can participate. So already there are possibilities for investors how to improve, how to learn.
Mm-hmm. Can you say more about the European Business Angels Network?
Well, EBAN is an organization that unites local angel networks and local associations and represents them towards European Union, and does everything to promote the idea of angel investment in Europe.
What is the approach of the European Union and European Commission towards venture capital?
Well, you know, EIF, European Investment Fund, is the biggest LP in Europe. So the union money or the government money are going in venture capital quite a lot, I would say. I'm in theory against governmental money going into venture or going anywhere, but yeah, it helps, you know. People don't know it very well, but Silicon Valley was based on state investments as well. And then when the private money was very involved, and they went away. But this should have happened even here. We need more money in the ecosystem. And if it's EIF money, perfect. Yeah.
But they would come in a later stage, right? They would invest into VC funds.
They invest in VC funds. Investing in angels, it's very difficult. There is a European Angel Fund investing with some angels, but generally speaking, it's only with super angels. You know, because in order to invest and support angels, they need to see angels that have already exits that are successful, and that generally comes after 10, 5, 15 years of investment. So
that's the term super angels?
They basically support only super angels. You know, we are looking for ways how to involve them with normal angels, but it's not easy.
How much you did mention at the beginning that it's pretty much the same story, but does the ecosystem, angel investing in ecosystem, differ much in the US?
Oh, quite a lot. You know, that's about the entrepreneurship. You know, I've got my friend Roger, is founder of one of the oldest angel network in Silicon Valley, and well, he told me, well, he sold his first company in '80s. You know, and selling company early and investing together with others, that was normal. Then the technology came after Intel, you know, they started all this startup frenzy. But they have the appetite. They have the appetite to invest with risk, and to give out the equity. In Europe, we didn't have that, you know, because it was about banks. You know, healthy people were investing always in real estate. Equity, yeah, no, well, nobody wanted to give out the equity. Well, family businesses forever. That's changing a bit. Where it is faster, where it is more connected. So we are really trying to bring more investors into early stage. There is quite a lot of investors already in later stage, but we need to have investors in early stage as well.
When you say giving out equity, what form of entry of an angel investor is there legally most of the time? Is it literally becoming a shareholder, or it's a convertible note or other means?
Both. It's convertible note or equity. Basically, convertible notes. It's a very good tool when you still don't have the valuation. Well, when valuation will be done in the future, you just need to give the money to the founder, and you will agree on the valuation or based on the next investment. But sometimes we see direct equity investment in the very beginning. Both is possible.
And at what time should the founder allocate employee stock option pool?
Well, I'm a big friend of that, but it's not very much feasible in Europe, or at least in continental Europe. So you need to go to find ways to go around. And I like the idea of having employees that like the company, want to stay with the company, and want to make money with the company. So once it starts really developing, well, why not? But again, in Europe, it's tricky. It's not easy.
Yeah, okay. One is how to legally do it, but the other topic is that from the very beginning, there's a mutual agreement in between the founders and the investors that there will be a pool allocated, right? Whether it's allocated legally at the beginning, that's secondary.
Yeah, well, all cap tables, when we see our business plan count with ESOP, the pool, generally about 10%. And yeah, the money, the pool, the stake is there and it's developed in the future. It makes sense when the company starts growing.
Are there any success stories of angel investments within Central Europe you would think mentioning?
Well, they are. First of all, if you look in Baltics, you've got plenty of them because Baltics is full of angel investors and founders that invested and make that had their company, sold their company, and now invest. I would say every exited founder is now angel investor or launched his VC firm. We start having it here. I wouldn't say the success. It's not about success of angel investors. It's about success of the founder. We had big help of UiPath that is. Great company coming from Romania, and suddenly all investors understand that unicorn can come even from this part of the world, and that was the big help, And angel investors are successful when the founders are successful.
So, what would you advise founders when looking for or considering angel investors?
Well, I think they don't have other choice. If they really start with startup and want to do it, want to do it seriously, the first money is generally angel, and angel must be chosen, with diligence. Investors choose founders. Founders must choose investors. You need to understand that you see the future the same way. That you want to live with the investor for a long time. That the investor doesn't ask you silly thing. There is more and more investors in the game, so don't accept conditions that are out of the moon.
Mm-hmm. What else would you advise the founders? What personality types should they choose?
Well, it's about
selecting angel
it's
investors?
about professionality and personality. Personality, you understand when you sit on the table. You understand that this is the person that is nice to you. That you believe that you can have a long-term relationship. And second, you need to find angels that can really help you. So you need to understand what type of quality of angel you are looking for, and the other thing is where the angel is from, because we are more and more talking to investors from other countries, and we have sometimes companies that come to us. They can have found investors from their country, but they want angels from other country. They want the investors from other country, which is just perfect. If you have 20 investors, angel investors on the cap table, it makes perfect sense to have them from all different countries, because they then can give you their kind of advice, their approach to the market. So just think globally from the very beginning, and that also in respect to investors.
And Peter, and what would you advise to those who would actually consider becoming first-time angel investors?
First of all, start. It's a big fun. When you talk to angel investors, they always say the motivation is learning, having fun, being in contact with smart people. That's essential, and that's great. Obviously, making money is important, but everybody says, and it's true, if you do it just for making money, it's not the right motivation, because then after 5 years you didn't make anything, because it takes really long time. But it's really fun. It's really in helping you to understand the world and understand where the world is going, and you enjoy being in company of smart people. So do it. First, when you decide to do it, you have to join somebody, because otherwise it takes you a long time to get in the game. So join an angel network, join an angel fund, join somewhere, decide about your strategy, decide what you like, what you don't like, and to really start doing it. Don't be afraid of losing money. That can happen. Everybody, we all use Apple product or Google product or both. Well, Apple or Google were in the beginning. They all have angel investors. Angel investors that met with Steve Jobs, said, "Well, okay, well, I like you. Here's 100,000." Just that, because he likes the guy. And without these kind of investors, we won't have successful startups in Europe.
Can you please explain the basics of how dilution works? Because that may be a new phenomena for those who first time would become angel investors.
Yeah. Well, calculation of cap table and calculation of the dilution is not easy. But technically, to say it easily, you invest you have like 5% in the company, and then in next round somebody comes and invests and gets 10% in the company. That means that your stake is 10% lower. So every round your stake is lower by 10 or 50%, 15 or 20%, depending on the valuation of the round. Honestly, after 10 rounds, you might have not even half of even less, but the value is much higher. If you invest in the valuation 2 million and you have 5%, and then company goes in the IPO and you have only 0.5%, that can be fine, because the valuation can be 5 billion or something. Don't be afraid of losing your share. It's about the total value.
Mm-hmm. Now, what should the founder be careful of when it comes to the shareholder agreement with the angel investor? So what clause shouldn't be there, because it could be harming the company in the long term? For example, anti-dilution, right?
Anti-dilution, yeah, there is quite a lot of, and we would go in very much in details. The important thing here to say that I'm a big fan of standard documents, really, and the ACA, the American Angel Association, long time produced standard documents. IBAN has standard documents, and I always say, we try to use it as standard as possible. Don't go around. SAFE is very much used in early stage in the US. Is perfect because when you sign the agreement, you say, okay, well, how do we do it? SAFE. Okay, that means everything is clear. So basically, try to get the standard documents, and if there is something that is different from the standard document, discuss it with the lawyer. I mean, there must be a lawyer experience in startups. We have them in Czech Republic as well. We have them everywhere. You need to consult it with lawyer,
But that's the key. You need to consult it with the lawyer who's familiar with the startup world, not your family lawyer, right?
Oh, that's that. Well, I mean, before launching Depo, I was in M&A, and I always said to my clients, well, don't use your family lawyer for M&A transaction because it will kill the transaction. That's the same here. Startups, investing in startups and startup transaction is kind of M&A. So it's not that much different, but you want to find a lawyer who's done it before, who has experience, who at least read something about it and knows what's acceptable and what is not acceptable. But you need a good lawyer for anything.
Now, when it comes to legal structure, at what time does it make sense to think of going outside with the, let's say, mother company, for example, outside of your country, right?
Well, you are mostly forced by investors. Because when you really start growing and you want to look for investors in US, you probably need a US company to do it. The same in UK or somewhere, you need to be there. Thing I really hate in Europe is that every country has this special government money that can be used only for local startups. So in order to get the money, you need to transfer the company, or at least part of the company there. I hate it, but that's how it works. Or in UK, you have the EIS structure, tax scheme, which is perfect, but it's only for UK companies. So it's not up to you. Investors will tell you.
Peter, how do you see the future of the European startup ecosystem?
Oh, we have a great 10 years ahead. I would say golden age of angel investing and technological startups in general. And that's what I see after the COVID crisis, or during the COVID crisis. The open minds of many people. And it's just perfect period for startups that do things a different way. And I see it discussing with investors. I see discussing with founders. There is a huge entrepreneurship in Europe, which was sleeping. Young people and everybody wanted to work in big corporates. Had big salaries, and that's changing now. There is a huge potential, and important enough, we are getting more and more money in the ecosystem. The amount we have seen huge rounds this year coming in Europe. Last week there were Atomico published this technology survey of the report of Europe. It's amazing to see the numbers, and most of it goes in later round, the big rounds. But there is money going in big rounds. There is money going in lower, and most of the big money is still from outside Europe. But European investors are waking up as well, and means there is more money in the ecosystem. More startups are growing. The people that wouldn't think 5 years ago about launching startups, now they do it because they see the opportunity. And Europe is much different from United States. You know, the United States before it was just Silicon Valley. Now it's different as well. But Europe is so fragmented, so you know wherever you are, you can go, you can support your startup ecosystem, and you can invest remotely. You know, the technology is here. We've got technological breakthrough nearly everywhere when we look. So we've got great 10 years, at least 10 years in Europe. It's a huge potential.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, how did COVID influence startup ecosystem?
Well, it mostly helped to most of startups because founders, startups start always doing things a little bit different way than it used to be before. And COVID showed everybody that we can do things different way, and we can do things better, and it really works. So generally speaking, it really helped. The second thing that helped is remote investing. Before, you know, mostly you found investors all around you. You found startups, you know, in your city, in your country, in your neighborhood, basically. Now, well, all where it is connected, you can invest anywhere, and it's a shame. It would be a pity just to invest only in startups that are around you, when you can find great startups nearly everywhere. So accessibility to capital is much better. You know, we have really at least 10 years golden age for investors, but for founders, it has never been easier and better time to start launching your firm in Europe than now.
And how do you see changing the sentiment of the public, I mean, let's say employees, towards startups?
I mean, everything is improving, and that's the important thing. Like 5 years ago, when I started investing in startups, well, most of my friends told me, "Oh, you're silly. Startups, it's just a fashion; it will go away." Now everybody understands that this is the thing. I think employees start more and more understanding, and that it's important where they go, you know, like in the US, you know, employees choose the startup because they want to get stock options, and they want to get stock options of great company, you know. But it's coming here, and I'm happy to say that we see that more and more investors think about investing in technology, you know, in technology in general, because that's everybody has real estate. Everybody has some apartment, but everybody understands real estate in Central Europe. But technology is something where we need to invest, and more investors are considering that, and that's nice.
By the way, I should have asked at the beginning, what is your definition of a startup?
Well, that's tricky. I mean, startup is a company that wants to develop faster its business, and it's ready to take money from outside investors, and it's oriented on fast growth. I always say, well, we had startups even before. You know, you can launch the company. But when you launch the company now and you want to be successful globally, you can grow quickly. But it's not just that you have to. Because if you don't grow quickly, then somebody will be faster, will be better than you, and will in best scenario will buy you out. But if you launch the business now, you need to develop quickly, and that's basically a startup. You know.
Peter, what are your plans for the next 12 months?
Well, my plans are for 10 years, not 12 months, but next 12 months. We first of all, we had wonderful 12 months this year. We closed the first fund, launched the second fund, and now we understand that there is a space for a rolling fund. We want to open angel fund every year, because every year there are no angel investors, new angel investors. So we want to allow angel investors to invest. We want to get more angel investors in the game, open more syndicate. This year we tripled the amount of investors in our network. and we want to triple it again, at least. And we are planning a seed fund because where we see there is still a huge opportunity and necessity to bring more money in the game. Together with angels, together with angel funds, we see how important it is to give founders money for first year, because it takes a year at least before they are ready to go to VCs, to really VCs that invest a little bit later. So yeah, we've got big plans, big grow plans for this year.
Peter, thank you so much for your time. It was very, very interesting talk. How can people who are interested in becoming angel investors reach out to you?
Well, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn very easily. They can go on to our website. We've got form, so very easily. And the barrier is very, very low. You just register and you can get the membership for free. You can start communicate with us. One important thing I need to say: angel investing is only for qualified investors. It's not for retail. So if you are a qualified investor, then to start is very easy. Just get into contact with me or with Depo.
What's the definition of a qualified investor?
Country by country is a little bit different, but generally speaking, it's somebody who has $1 million as an investment, investable assets, or 200,000 a year income, I think per family or per month, or is a C-level manager or something. Basically somebody who knows what to do. I mean, just we don't accept money from somebody who just wants to make money. We work with angels, so we work with people that bring quality.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And many thanks to you for watching and listening another episode of Purple Ventures Zoom. We are shooting these recordings for those who are interested in the subject of venture capital investing. I'm Jan Staniek from Purple Ventures. If you are interested in the subject, please go ahead and subscribe.